Amy.
Hey, Jack.
I'm gay.
Oh my God, that is so funny. I'm also gay. I was going to tell you.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
And you're listening to Dating Straight. Hey, Amy.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Grace and Mamrie.
Hello, Amy and Jack.
What a dream to hear you guys say our names.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pinch me now. You guys, we have to take a moment to fangirl.
Yeah.
Honestly, you guys are the reason that I became a YouTuber. How many YouTubers have told you that? Many.
I don't know.
I will never claim that.
I also
Love count.
I'm sorry, society.
I have a brain that's like water going through a colander. So like if I get told anything, it just completely falls out.
True. Old colander, Helbig,
Yep.
they call her.
But thank you. That's very
Yeah,
sweet.
that's very kind.
Yeah, for sure. I literally made like a "You Deserve a Drink"
Oh my
parody
God.
that it was just like not
Send
funny
it
at
to me,
all.
please.
No, I would never do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you
mean,
guys so much for being here.
I
of
remember commenting religiously on Grace's videos, trying to make it into a Tuesday. Was it a Tuesday?
Yes.
Oh,
You've been hazed?
And
yeah.
it never happened, but this is better.
Oh, this is way
Oh, way
better.
better.
And also,
Yeah.
I still have the method of like, if I post anything on the internet, I walk away from it completely and don't look. So don't worry, I didn't look at hardly any comments.
Okay, great.
The truth comes out in the first minute.
I was scared. I was scared of feedback.
No, that's like genius. I don't have that skill, but I would like it. I don't.
Oh.
There's no.
It's
point
called-
in, like looking.
It's called deep insecurity.
Oh,
It's not really.
I get in
I
there.
have
Oof.
that. So
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just want to do that. Okay, so please rate, review, subscribe. We have a Patreon.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Oh, is that how you do it? You plug in the first 5 minutes?
Like, there's always time to learn.
We are so. I don't know if we've told our people to like rate our podcast once in 100 episodes, and
Yeah.
it was like at the end,
Yeah.
when everyone's already like, "This is wrapping up."
Yep.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. Okay, you've inspired us. We're recording our pod right after this, and we're gonna do it.
Good.
Do it the right way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
you gotta
great.
do it straight at the beginning.
Oof.
Okay, so you guys have a podcast together.
Mm-hmm.
It's called This Might Get Weird. Or This Might Get. I was trying to figure out.
It's This
Which
Might Get
one it
Weird.
was.
Yeah, This Might
Okay.
Get was the video version we did for like 6 months, but then when it became a podcast, This Might Get Weird.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But you guys were besties before that as well, just like Jack and I.
Oh.
And we have noticed that dating straight is, it's changing our relationship, not in a bad way.
Okay.
It just like is because there's more work, less fun.
Yes. Okay. Right. We
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah, have you guys like been through that?
Well, I mean, I'll say this, and we can talk about like what our relationship is now with podcast, but like Grace and I, there were times where we were doing book tours, YouTube, and movies together. So like
my
that,
God.
so that was
Wow.
like lots of business. Now with
Yeah.
the podcast, it really is just like we're hanging out once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the only thing that's really changed is because our podcast
Yeah.
is truly just us shooting the shit
Bullshitting.
and talking about anything that's happened to us in the week before. We now, when we hang out without recording, we can't really
No.
tell each other everything that's been going on until we start
I see.
it's
recording.
maddening because our third Hannah, well, she'll be like, let's hang, let's hang. I miss you. Like, let's hang out. And we do. And then me and Grace just get there and we're like, but Grace and I can't talk.
Yeah.
We're like, we can only hear what you're doing, Hannah. We did dinner the other night and Grace and I sat beside each other and we were like, honestly, it's just the Hannah show.
Yeah.
Grace and I, if anything happened, we have to save it for the podcast.
Yeah. But it's a fun work balance.
Yeah.
It's like getting to work with your friend, as you guys know, is honestly the best thing ever, even if it's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. So we all know that there is definitely something interfering with our happiness and our ability to achieve our goals.
Mm-hmm.
Need I say more? BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours, which is brilliant and like not usual for the therapy industry. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, which is another thing there's a need for right now online.
Absolutely. And also there is a broad range of expertise available, which may or may not be locally available in your area. So you can get what you need, definitely. Also, it's available worldwide. So no matter where you are, BetterHelp's got you. And then you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor, and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule, weekly video or phone call meetings as well. So you won't ever have to sit in a waiting room that like makes you feel awkward.
Sure.
And BetterHelp is committed to great matches. So they make it easy and free to change counselors if you guys don't vibe. It's also more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Also, BetterHelp wants you to start living happier today, as do we. So
yeah, we do.
Visit betterhelp.com/dating. That's better, HELP, and join the over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer for Dating Straight listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/dating.
Thank you so much, BetterHelp. Love that. Thank you also, Issue, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. So if you're a creative, you know the drill. You're finally done editing. It's perfect. Now you just need a format and reformat for every single platform. With Issue, make it ready once, and it's ready to post everywhere. Issue is the all-in-one platform to create and distribute beautiful digital publications, from brochures to magazines to newsletters and more. Ooh. It's perfect for creators, marketers, designers, educators, publishers, salespeople, or anyone who wants to make eye-catching content, which is a lot of people.
Which is everyone, yeah.
Yeah. And Issue makes it easy. Simply upload your PDFs and files, and Issue transforms them using your vision and customizable templates to create the content that you want.
Yeah, and with Issue, you create it once and distribute it everywhere. Everything is optimized to post on your website and social platforms like Instagram and Facebook, and they can even help you make animated Instagram stories. And you can start using Issue for free. They also have a premium features that give you a more customized experience. So get started with Issue today for free, or if you sign up for a premium account, you will get 50% off when you go to issue.com/podcast and use promo code DATING. That's ISSUU.com/podcast and use promo code DATING at checkout for your free account or 50% off your premium account. That's issue.com/podcast with promo code DATING.
Thanks, Issue.
I mean, it's always been Amy's dream for us to share a home together, and we know you guys do that. So, like, I feel like I would like to hear about that.
Well, Jack, the dream should be to share your second home together. Don't move in with each other.
That's what
we have our own houses. This is our vacation home.
Yeah, it's like it's a different type of business venture together, which is very cool because it's something outside of entertainment, but we still get to do it together, and it feels very adult. But we also had spent so much time when we were working, traveling together, like living in hotel rooms together.
I used to be just a total barnacle because like Grace would be invited to like different cons, like Playlist Live and VidCon or this, or just go on a trip. And I'd be like, I'm sleeping on your couch.
Yeah.
Like so like it wasn't even the point where we were having our own rooms. Like I think the first time we were traveling with our own rooms was like Hey USA. Before that, we were like, we can split a room. We don't care.
Oh yeah.
We got to find boundaries.
We used to split a hotel room. And when we would tour with Hannah and do no filter shows, Hannah very quickly got her own room because she likes her own personal space. And Mamrie and I were like, fine, whatever. Why would you do that?
Why?
And then we were prepping for a show and we're like, come to our room and we'll like go over the things for the show. And she walked in and she literally stopped in the doorway and was like, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen. We can go back to my room to rehearse. I don't know what you two do, but this is awful. And both of us are like, what are you talking about?
She's like, you've been here 3 minutes and it looks like the room barf.
Yeah.
Like,
So we now have separate hotel rooms. We've understand that personal space is helpful.
but goals anyway, vacation home. Let me just break it down.
sure.
Some real adult stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a place that's 2 hours away that Grace and I can use as much as we want. And also, like, we rented it next week just for me, her, Hannah, and our significant others, just to not be in a city during the election week.
Yes.
Like, so,
Oh my God.
it's the escape. But then
Genius.
also, neither of us are there that much. So why would you pay that mortgage by yourself?
Yeah, this was truly a Mamrie plan that I barnacled on board with. But here, I have a question.
Genius.
I have a question for you guys. Jack, you said it's Amy's dream for you guys to move in together.
Get in there. Not too deep.
What's your
Grace. Not too deep.
hesitation? Is it specifically not
Jack,
your
tell
dream,
me.
or is this something that you're being convinced into?
No, I'm definitely not being convinced. I've let it be known, I think, that I'm like, that's an interesting idea. You know, I never say that's a horrible idea. I say, I love that dream for you.
Okay.
But
It's always for me, is what he says.
But here's the thing. When you're allergic to cats and the person has 3 cats, and when you are planning on having
Okay,
maybe
that was
a
judgment,
boyfriend
and I
or
saw
husband,
it.
when you're planning on maybe having a boyfriend or husband in the future, and the other person's planning on you being their significant other, pretty much, you run into some barriers.
Okay. I feel like this is some stuff that you guys should really figure out before you make any purchases.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe the first step is living in the same city together, like living within like a 10-minute radius of each other and then working
He's
up
just-
to it.
We did.
He's just about to leave.
We did.
He lived in LA for our whole friendship, and now you're just deciding to. Well, Jack. What are you doing?
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Sensitive
I
territory.
said,
No, it's not.
I said,
not.
let me take a brief moment outside of the City of Angels.
Yeah.
And ended up in Brooklyn. And then, you know,
Things happen.
How long have you been there?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Since August. And
Yeah. No, that's fun as fuck.
Yeah. What does LA have that Brooklyn doesn't?
I'll tell you what. Talk to me in about 2 months when you have the New York fucking winter.
Yeah.
Grace and I met in New York. We lived in New York
We met
for
in Brooklyn.
years. I lived in Brooklyn for 8 years. When your friends are toasting mimosas out at al fresco at a cute little brunch place outdoors in February, and you are just like so fucking cold your bones are rattling.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, you know, I'm familiar. I did actually go to college in Boston for 1 year. And then, 1 year. And then I said, fuck, never again. But then I said, maybe again.
You basically kombucha girled your whole decision.
Like he's tilted his head.
Pretty much.
Oh my
So that's
gosh.
where I am now.
No,
Well-
I'm happy for you. Brooklyn is a great place, especially it's a fun place to like date and fall in love and do all that
Yeah,
stuff.
to find a real husband.
A real, instead of like a wax figure one in LA, like Madame Tussauds or whatever.
Yeah, one that wants to manage your career. Exactly.
Guys, don't encourage this. This is terrible. If he finds a man there, then he's really anchored there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna need like at least bi-coastal. Well, my dream wasn't to live with Jack. It's to live next door to Jack.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So wherever he buys a house, I'm gonna be purchasing.
There you go.
I love it.
Looking.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Literally today, I was like, I like you more than you like me.
Oh.
That's always a great moment in a friendship to have that conversation.
Listen,
Nothing
nothing
is
is
awkward
open
after that.
communication.
So which one of you guys likes each other more than the other?
Oh, I think it's
mutual.
super mutual.
I think I might like you more.
No, I think I like you more. I think not to like make your guys' friendship look like shit, but no.
But it's also ebbs and flows. There's been times where I've been like, ugh, Grace, and times she's been like, ugh, Mamrie. I'm sure. You know?
I think we're really similar, but the things that we're really different about, we really respect in each other.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of like a lot of like opposite attracting and like balance in the friendship of
sure.
like she is obviously in like getting vacation home more forthright and those kind of things. And I'm very much like, yes, I support that. I will help us get this done. Here we go.
Totally. I think we're
Okay.
both now just too old to like be that annoying.
No, yeah. We're
Our listeners disagree.
our podcast reviews say otherwise.
Oh, wow.
Well, so
Oh,
okay,
that must be
Mamrie
nice,
likes you
you
a
guys.
little more. That's the end of the story.
Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about old YouTube versus new YouTube.
There you
Because you
go.
guys were literally the trailblazers. At least, like, I didn't know what a YouTuber was until I
either.
started watching you guys, and then I was like, let me try.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were like
So-
the original Team 10, pretty much.
Literally.
Like
Wow.
Yeah.
the Holy Trinity plus Tyler Oakley.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it is,
what have we done?
I don't know. I blame us for everything.
I don't want the trail blazed. I want to cover it with brush. The trail is never here.
Kick all the
The
tracks
trail's
away.
never here.
But you guys were huge in the LGBT community. Like, why are you guys, two straight women, gay icons for us growing up?
I mean, that's a you guys question.
I think it's like I'm guessing right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
But like, well, first we're very much ourselves, which I think is comforting to someone who might be figuring who themselves are. But also like Grace is so her image online is so non-sexual.
yeah.
And I'm so overtly sexual. It was like very Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. I think maybe that has something to do with it. I also think that, you know, our friendship with Hannah really kind of fostered this really warm welcome into the community that like we never truly like kind of sought out on our own in any way. And I think it just like we're very progressive liberal people, and so we never made a mission to get any particular type of audience.
Right.
I think the odd thing is just like the natural organic sort of growth of that. And I think we also just like love the community, love our friends. My brother's gay. I'm just like, I want everyone to be happy, and I want everyone to like exist in a world where everyone's
be
equal.
gay.
I mean, yeah.
I thought that's what you were going to say. And I was like, okay.
I mean, truly, really, I think the world would probably be a much better place. But
points were made.
yeah, I think it's just that we were always open and welcoming and just ourselves.
Yeah.
And so but we also really don't know.
For a long ass time,
Yeah.
neither of us talked about our own relationships. So that
Right.
wasn't like put in anyone's face. Of like,
Right.
well, check out our heteronormative life. Like it was just like we only talked about having fun.
And because of that, I think because our friendship with Hannah, people thought
Oh,
a
the
lot of
fanfic.
times that we were all dating each other
Oh,
in some
the fanfic.
capacity.
Right.
And so
our
that
third,
invited
as you said. Our third.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
did say that.
It's the language that we use by accident. It must be.
Yeah, I feel like you guys made me gay somehow. I don't know how, but somehow.
The nicest thing anyone's ever
I know,
said to us.
that's really sweet. Yeah, I have no idea how it all happened, but I'm really glad that it did, because the community of people that, especially back in like 2012, 13, 14, it was just and is still the kindest, most welcoming, funniest, sweetest people that anytime we did meet and greets after shows or did VidCon conventions or anything like that, we would have to like go lay down for a long time after all that because we were just overwhelmed and like drained with so much beautiful
serotonin.
energy.
I mean, it was like you just like did so much Molly. And it's the next day, and you're like, everything sucks. I'll never be happy again like I was.
But really, that was sort of like our next question. Like, what has YouTube? How has YouTube affected you? And like, you know, what are your minds like now?
Well, I mean, Grace's whole other level.
I'm like, all right, here we go. Where's your can opener? Let's open this can of fucking worms.
Because I mean, I feel like Grace is such a pioneer in it, and you know, again, and then I was like Barnacle, but like, yeah, from really seeing the changes and all of it, because like I feel like we did lots of stuff as like a trio, and I did my own thing, but it was always like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But like really watching it from a distance. But like now it's like the people we see on YouTube, you know, like you said, like are like, well, I learned how to edit based on how Grace edits, you know, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild back then because truly, and we say this all the time, like we had no idea what we were doing, and we were just trying to do things that made us laugh at the capacity in which we could produce them by ourselves. And it was just such an encouraging environment of other people doing that too. And just, you know, with Tyler and, you know, the Hank and John and all of these other creators, there was just this like surge of really sweet, positive, creative energy because you were allowed to. There are no gatekeepers. And so this just like you kept being like, we're allowed to do this. Okay. We're allowed to make a movie. Okay. And we're allowed to write a book. Okay. And so it was always this like step-by-step thing without knowing the best way to like, I guess this is the wrong phrase, but like take advantage of these, you know, opportunities.
It was just something we thought would be fun. Like I remember the first time we did a live show.
Yeah.
We did it at this place, RIP, called Nerd Melt Theater. And it was like 120 people. And it was just because Grace and I met doing sketch comedy in New York. And we were like, Hannah, you come on and let's do it. And like we had Tyler drop in on it. And us just being like people being like, oh, you guys are doing a show? YouTubers are doing a show. And we were like, why not? And then it snowballed and became like, now there's fucking crazy tours. Of like,
well, now it's O2L. People have gotten the
O2L.
What'd you say? O2L. I feel like that's gonna be a what's the old VH1 show that's like behind the music or something? I want the O2L behind the music of where they all are now.
When I just said O2L, I then the next thought was, wait, do I mean 98 Degrees? Like, it just sounds so boy band. It's amazing.
Yeah, but now it's very, very different. You know, there's like
business.
There's a business model in place, and the people that want to be successful YouTubers know the steps and the methods to do all of it. And so it's interesting. It's a cool place for creators. It's so saturated now. It overwhelms me a lot. I don't find myself watching YouTube the way I used to. I think also, not to get political, but it's a very important year. And so a lot of kind of like the trivial stuff that seems to be the undercurrent of YouTube isn't as interesting to me personally. Yeah. It's also a sign that I'm getting older, and I watch the news now.
Yeah,
and so
I know totally. I was walking my dog this morning, and I sent Hannah and Grace a text because I was like, oh, I normally check Twitter or listen to the news, and I was like, you know what? It's sunny today. I want to feel good. I'm always in a better mood when I listen to music. So I listened to the opening songs we used for our No Filter tours that we'd like change the words to be like YouTube-y, you know? And I got in like such a good mood. And then I thought about, what was that thing back in the day in YouTube where you like stood still and then it was, do you know what I'm talking about? It was the music.
Harlem Shake.
The
Right?
Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
I thought about the Harlem Shake.
Do the Harlem Shake.
I thought about it and I almost started crying this morning because I was like, remember when everything was pure?
I know.
And you're like, oh, what Harlem Shake are we
Yeah.
going to do? This is so much pressure.
I know. When like planking. How can we plank?
How can we plank?
And do Harlem Shake in the same day? And then how do we like eat pudding out of diapers for another video?
It was so pure.
It was pure. It's very different now, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's to be expected for any industry, I guess.
Absolutely.
Someone ruins it.
You're looking at us.
No, not at all.
no.
No.
Oh, you don't know. We could be ruining it.
Yeah, we could.
That's true.
Okay, so I know that Grace, there was a moment where you were posting 5 videos
That's insane.
a week,
Yeah.
which I cannot fathom. What effect did that have on your mental health?
Well, I was under a contract with a company to post 5 videos a week. So
You keep talking. I'm going to top off our coffee.
Oh, thank you.
I'll bring it over.
She's heard this story a billion times.
She literally was like, "It's enough.
I'm done here. No, when I first started, I was under this contract with a company called My Damn Channel under Daily Grace, making 5 videos a week, which was really great because it was a muscle that was fully worked out, and I felt like I was in such a system with it, and I loved doing it, and I felt like I had all of this creative energy, that ideas just seemed to really flow. I was doing a lot of improv comedy in New York at the time, and so I was in very much a state of yes and to every like creative opportunity that came up. I think about it a lot as to if I wasn't in a contract, would I have created content that consistently? And I truly don't know. I'm really thankful for that situation because it did teach me one of the foundational principles of making digital content, which is consistency over time. Because as soon as I left that company and left Daily Grace, there's been a rapid decline in the amount of content that I had been producing. But I also think like in growing and changing your perspective and like truly the idea of burnout is a very real thing, that it's sustaining that is just kind of impossible.
But I think but it's also like, it was so exciting because it was so new of like, you can produce your own shit, that I think about it in the same way of like live stuff. Like when I think about the UCB days of me, like literally rehearsals would start at 11 p.m. and went till 1:30, and then we'd go get beers and go home.
Yeah, crazy.
Like that was our rehearsal schedule. They started at 11, and then I'd have to take the subway to Brooklyn at like 4. And I'm like, I would never fucking do that. But like at the time, it was like, I have to do this or I cease to exist. I think you still would have made that content, because even when like Grace and I lived in the same neighborhood in Brooklyn, and it would be like, hey, let's get a drink, and she'd say, well, I have to shoot a video real quick. And it didn't feel phoned in at all. I'd like watch it the next day and be like, oh, you did 90 jump cuts to say how to reject a man.
Well, it's also there's that whole mentality that when you're posting so frequently, the preciousness of the quality of every video isn't necessarily there, because it lives for 24 hours, and then you have to have another one up. So I was never sitting there second guessing anything. Whereas as soon as you stop that momentum, all of your anxiety thoughts come in, and you wonder, is this stupid? When you have a second to talk yourself out of something, you'll talk yourself out of something.
Again, that was your like improv brain.
Yeah,
because it's
totally.
going like, oh, I wasn't that funny tonight on improv.
Right.
Whatever. Like
The show's gone, the next one,
As opposed to like, I've been writing this sketch show for 3 months, and what if it isn't good?
It was also a huge advantage because the internet was so new. If I were to start a YouTube channel right now, I would be so flooded in my brain as to like what to do, how to make it uniquely my own, and what even like adds value to the world in this sense. So anyone that's starting right now, I give them huge credit, because it seems like an impossible task almost. We, by accident, had the luxury of being involved in the community when it was being formed. So there were there wasn't as much comparison or competition. And at that point, truly collaboration was the foundation of YouTube. Like high tides were raising all ships. It was kind of like us against traditional media. And so it felt like this weird like Avengers, or like who's the rings that are Earth, Wind, Fire.
Oh, that's
no, not wind.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is a funk band who sings the hit
Captain
September. Oh man, no, exactly. It was so new that it wasn't. No one was saying like, "Oh, Mamrie, she's kind of like this YouTuber, but also this YouTuber with drinks." It was just like, "Oh no, it's this girl who has her own personality." You know, it wasn't like, "Oh, Daily Grace." It's a mix of this and that. You know, like every TV show that's ever sold of like, well, it's like The Sopranos in Miami. You know. So you didn't have those comparisons, so there was really nothing to live up to besides your own self-worth.
Yeah, true.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have to admit, I'm glad that you brought up My Damn Channel because I have appeared on My Damn Channel and I had to get that off of my chest.
Oh, God.
What did you do? And do they still owe you a check?
I was incredibly underpaid, but I did get paid.
Yeah, that was the thing that they were best at.
No, it was actually, I mean, I was like 15. And so I was very much, going with anything that came my way. So after I was like, oh my God, this was Grace's, like, this, I'm going to be the next Grace if I do this. Lo and behold, it didn't work out like that. But I just had to get that off my chest. I was sweating. So
no, it's all what did you do? Are we allowed to know, or is this like lost in the ethernet somewhere?
Have they renamed the channel to still make money off you?
We did 3 episodes of this show that was all about apps and technology that never came out. And then one called West Coast TV, which is still on the internet, which was through the My Damn Channel like umbrella. And I was a guest on that, and it was really awkward and strange. I feel like without you, the business model crumbled.
Yeah, they didn't have a business model. So that's why I'm like, oh, whatever you did, if it didn't work out, I guess that makes sense. I was truly doing my own thing under there. Like I was editing my videos, posting my videos, making all the content myself, like truly handling myself as an independent contractor with them. So I had no idea what the 99% of the other business was. I met our friend Beth Hoyt through My Damn Channel, which is a beautiful blessing. But other than that, I really had nothing to do with anything that they did. So, but also you were working at 15?
15.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was always getting my bag from an early age.
Love it.
Okay, so we have all taken like YouTube breaks. I just took a 3-month YouTube break, and I think I'm on accidentally another one. It's so hard to not to get political, make content now.
Yes,
oh,
I
absolutely.
Agree.
Why not get political?
Stupid.
Yes, to get political.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On top of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So I guess I wanted to hear like, what do you think are like the pros and cons of taking breaks?
Oh.
Well,
because Mamrie, you're on a break right now, I've noticed.
In case you didn't know.
It is so sweet. You think that's intentional. Oh, shit. No, okay, here's the deal is like YouTube doesn't make me money.
Yeah.
So it's also, I feel like, views change or whatever. So I was having more fun doing like Instagram, IGTV stuff. But like in the end, it's like you work yourself up and then make a video and then you're like, oh, well, it would have been cool if it got a lot more views, and it's fine. But I just am on the mindset now. It's like, it's not how I pay my bills. So like, if I'm going to go through the effort of it, I'm going to have to really want it. And like I said before, I can't not make this right now.
Yeah. Also, Mamrie,
and I haven't felt like that.
Mamrie does a ton of shit off camera like actually in the entertainment industry behind the scenes right now.
No one knows that. Everyone just thinks I'm lazy.
I know. People think that you're sitting here like twiddling your thumbs, just making curries all day. But but really, you're like writing and pitching and like hustling really hard behind the scenes. And that kind of stuff no one sees until the product is actually like presented or a deadline article goes out or something like that. So there's so much invisible hustle that happens that, you know, people can't quantify. And so the assumption is, oh, you must just be sitting, chilling, watching your mat out.
Yeah, if I put up a video right now, comments would be like, oh, nice of you to grace us and actually, you know, like make a video. And you'd be like, motherfucker, like I work so much.
Yeah. I do think that that
was so funny. I'm still not over it.
But it's also like what you said, Amy, is true that this year in particular is an incredibly difficult year for creators in general. I think because there is real serious stuff happening that is affecting our communities, our government, everything, that it feels, at least for myself, it feels incredibly selfish and narcissistic to think, oh, let me just put out a video about like, you know, a Halloween pumpkin spice sexy costumes or something.
Right.
Which, you know, isn't off my
I was just going to say, should we collab today? Should I be like, I'm back from my break. No. And the same way, like the exact format of my channel, it's like, I can't go like, you know who deserves a drink? Gigi Hadid had a baby. It's like, no, motherfucker. Like, I want to say it would all be political to me.
Essential workers,
Yeah, exactly. And like, that doesn't work with like gross perverted puns. And it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, I'm not, if I did something, people would be like, thank you for the distraction / like, well, this is ridiculous because who really deserves to drink? And it's just like everything is so loaded right
Everything's
now.
very tense.
It's tough.
To answer your question, I think there's only a good side to breaks. If you're taking a break, like if you've made that conscious decision for yourself, I think that is incredibly good. I think the thing, I've been taking a step back from YouTube because seeing it evolve into such a industry, such a system, and watching the pressures that people have taken on and how people are sacrificing mental health, are sacrificing just like personal, joy and pleasure, and watching people hustle and seeing, behind their eyes that like there's something off, something's going on. And then also seeing other creators taking more breaks. Like there's something in the water. When you do it for a decade, it's only natural that one, as we get older, we pivot and figure out like, where does our content make sense? What do we want to say? What do we want to make? But two, also like the platform itself changes. And so you'd figure out like, what is your relationship with this? I think it's really necessary to take breaks. I think the delusion in YouTube that you get caught in this system where it's a job that you work 24 hours a day. And so you can get caught in that hustle and it sacrifices a lot of like personal well-being going on. And I think people get scared that if they take a break, they're suddenly irrelevant because it is so wildly oversaturated. Right. And your well-being, your mental health takes priority over whatever status you want to get, whatever view count you want to get, in my opinion. I hope more people start to handle that better. I hope YouTube takes care of their creators better in that capacity.
Same. It's the only entertainment industry that doesn't have like some form of forced hiatus. Yeah. Like if you're like, on the Big Bang Theory, like, you have seasons, or
God forbid.
I mean, God forbid, they get paid $1 million an episode. Okay. What? Kaylee Cuoco called me. But like, even with movies, it's like, that's such an intense moment where if, Nicole Kidman is going to do a movie and she's going to be like crying and doing the Nicole Kidman thing for like 4 months. Sure, that's exhausting. And I'm sure then she's going to go to Nashville and just be a fucking normal person and not think about work for a month. Like with YouTube and social media, it's like, I look and I'm like, I haven't posted in 3 days. What am I doing? I've lost it. You know what I mean? And it's the only thing where it's not it hasn't been normalized to take breaks.
Right. And then at the same time, I get caught up because that urge to post because you haven't posted, because people are wondering or because something. So you take a selfie and you just throw it up just to have content. That feels so hollow and so unsatisfying to me that I'm like, okay, where is, I have to reevaluate what this is for me. Because if I'm posting to post consistently to build a brand, that's one thing. But if I'm posting out of like obligation to hold on to something, gets a little gross. I think and the community and the world at large is in a big pivot phase right now. So take breaks as much, as long, whenever you need. Amy, I think keep going on your break if you need it more.
Go for it. And also YouTube, again, figure out how to take care of your people, because in this change in YouTube, the thing that was celebrated were these very long daily vlogs, and that takes a toll on people mentally. It also celebrates very long, boring fucking content and doesn't lift up like edited, written short form comedy. So it's like I don't know how you figure that out, but I think it definitely like plays into the problem of like when all the things that were pushed on YouTube and like gaining popularity were to expect people to put up 15-minute videos daily, and then they become a robot and like a slave to their content.
Yeah, totally.
And then have a break that they don't mean to have, mental breakdown vibe.
Right. Before you get to the mental breakdown, take an actual breakdown.
Totally.
That's a great idea. Okay, well, now I think we are a dating show. We would love to move into some of your deep personal lives. So I know you guys used to be pretty private online about who you're dating. Now you seem relatively open. There's lots of selfies of like you guys at concerts with your men being like, and Grace, you have a podcast with your man. So like what inspired this change of presentation with public relationships?
A great question.
Had various journeys.
I think when Mamrie and I first started YouTube, we were one of the rare bit of people that didn't want to put our private life first. We didn't want to like monetize our privacy. And we wanted everything to be comedy facing first and that sort of thing. And so we were really, I think, without being super conscious of it, very balanced in the way we handled our private lives. I think as we got older, for myself, I know I'm in a really great relationship right now. I'm an older person, and I feel like I have more of a handle on the value of my private life and what I'm able to put in the public life world. I get very, very nervous when I see people putting their entire lives online, because I've watched it hurt people in the past, and I've watched like the cycle of that be kind of destructive for the person, for families, for relationships, etc. And so I think I'm very conscious of how much I put out there, but I also love my boyfriend, so that's pretty public knowledge at this point.
No, totally. And same. Like I haven't really dated people who are on camera in general. So like, I'm not going to be up in their face. But when we started off, again, it was like, we wanted people to go, since it is YouTube and it's in your own home. I didn't want someone to be watching my video and be like, was that her boyfriend? Or like, did I hear that? Or like, see in the next room, like you don't even want it in your thoughts, in the same way that it's like, you have those actresses where you go, I know this is Angelina Jolie and she's doing great, but I'm thinking about the fact that her and Brad are going through it. You know what I mean? And it's like, as opposed to just looking at someone and being like, I'm enjoying this content for what it is. I'm not thinking about your personal life.
I just watched the Dolly Parton documentary.
Oh my God, it's so good. And
highly recommend if you guys have not seen it. It's so good. And she's been married since she was like 19
years. Yeah.
And hardly anyone has seen her husband. Yeah, exactly. She like moved to Nashville and met this guy in a a laundromat. They got
Wow.
married, and he's been behind the scenes forever. I respect the shit out of that. I think that's
nothing
Yeah.
to do with this.
incredible. Just like someone that puts it in their own terms, and it doesn't take anything away from how talented, how beautiful, how like full she is as a person herself. And I just think that on YouTube, it's such a slippery slope of when you start putting private things out in public.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I watch reality TV. I'm obsessed with it as much as the audience on YouTube is obsessed with it. So I understand where it's coming from. And I think we've both gone in phases of like putting more stuff out there, kind of pulling back a little bit. And it just like, to each their own. I really do value my privacy a lot. So.
Same. But also, it's like, know where you are in your relationship, and that, like, me posting a selfie with my boyfriend or a story, like, in zero way affects how I feel about the relationship itself. It is literally just an afterthought and fun. It's when people make it their identity that, and maybe it's because, like, I like to have separation anyway. But like, it's when people make it their identity that how people respond to their relationship online affects how they feel about their own relationship.
Right.
Which isn't good.
And as people that like truly do continue to audition for things in Hollywood, I don't want the first Google search to be, I broke up with blah, blah, blah as a video for a casting director or anyone to see. So yeah, that's just my MO, but everyone's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
How about you guys? Where are your boundaries?
Or do your audience already know?
I don't know. It's so complicated. Because like you want to be able to share this person that you really like, but then it's also like, maybe it's for the worst.
Yeah, I think there's something dangerous, as we all know, about like couples channels or like making an like identity together online, because
Jack,
then
that's what we have.
you need to relax. And yeah, that can be scary. But I think also, like keeping everything so private, like maybe pulling a Dolly Parton would make me scared, because
That'd
like
be hard too.
Yeah.
It'd be really tough, I feel.
not that I wouldn't want to be Dolly, but you know.
I was gonna say though, but when you're a beloved icon that's larger than life,
When your talent
you
speaks
don't
for you.
give a fuck.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyone knows your husband is attractive.
Right.
Right. That's true.
It's also tricky because we have a dating podcast.
Right.
We actually do a little catch up. So yeah. It's
and-
something we often consider.
Yes, it is. I think we used to be very more public. I have pulled back for sure.
Yeah.
About like frankly, I hate even saying this, even though it's literally on the internet publicly. But I like one time was like, I got an STD, and now I'm like, why did I say that? Like,
no, trust me, it's a lesson learned, and you'll never learn it unless you actually do it. Like you think in the moment, you're just being yourself, you're being authentically, transparently you. That's the intoxication of YouTube, is that it affords you for being so transparent, and then people lose any sense of boundaries, which I think is hugely important. Like I know that I watch and respect people that have a very clear sense of boundaries, and I get very anxious when I watch people who don't. And and so for myself, if that's what I like to watch, I try to live that way for myself as well.
You got to have some stuff that's just yours.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relationship or otherwise, it's just like there's a difference in being an open book and just like throwing the pages everywhere, even and forcing into people's face.
Totally.
It's also like an industry that is so easy to overshare because you're basically just sitting at home talking to yourself.
Yeah.
So, Jack, it's okay that you had an STD and you shared it.
Yeah.
I know that it's okay that I had an STD, but why? Why was I like, hey world? So guess which one?
Okay.
No, that was helpful for someone out there. That's the rationalizing too, is that someone out there needed to hear that, needed to know that someone else was going through something that was similar.
Totally.
Okay, well, I'm sure they could find someone else, not me, moving forward. Mamrie, I know you've been with your man for a long time. How long has that been, and how do we keep a long-term partnership? Because we can't.
Oh, Grace can answer this too. Yeah, I've been dating him for 3 years, which is so funny. Be a long time because my previous relationship was 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
know.
word.
That relationship that you never saw was 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
From
Dolly.
22 to
Hey,
30.
Dolly.
That is so Dolly of you.
I love it. No, I think to tie this back up to the beginning of this podcast, it's the same way of us talking about boundaries as friends. And when ours was, well, let's get our own hotel rooms or this and that. It's making sure that you each have your own identities. And so that way, when you come together, you still have something to fucking talk about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I love hanging out with my boyfriend. I have the most fun, but like, just keep your codependency in check.
Yeah.
That's what I think, is make sure you still have your own life that existed before that partner, and you don't just totally enmesh them.
Right.
That's what I think.
And Chip's great because he, one, has a face for the camera, and two,
He is handsome.
and he like loves and supports everything that Mamrie does, which is so unbelievably cute. But he does work in a different industry and has a completely other life. So he can support and appreciate the things that you do from a perspective that's really refreshing rather than from another content creator like my fucking boyfriend.
Oh my God. He also doesn't kiss my ass.
Yeah, he'll tell it to you straight.
Yeah, he'll be like, that was kind of funny. I'll be like, kind of funny. Millions. Do you know you're on the couch with a goddamn performer? And he'll just be like, calm down. Like he doesn't let my ego fly.
Yeah, it's great.
So, which I think is good. And now, speaking of boyfriends, Elliot's texting her about the septic
We're
tank
getting
guy.
a septic tank dumped out today.
So, adult romance.
Keep it sexy. That's how you keep a long-term relationship.
Keep your relationship in the shitter.
Yeah, I mean, I know Amy and I have talked about that is the key to life, is like having one person not work in the same, or like you can't both work in the same industry. One person must not work from home. Both cannot work from home. That is a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah, or you have to get an outside office or something.
Yeah,
and you can be in the same industry. Just don't date. Just like no. Don't be like in the exact same moment. You guys are different because you're younger. Like Grace and Elliot make sense. They're both performers, both in similar industry, but they're both like totally know their own life and their own business. It's like when you're younger and it's like two of you feel competitive, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's
Not
tough.
good.
Very tough.
Despite you guys being somewhat private before, what is being like a public figure and going through a private breakup, like having that like public persona while also like dealing with shit? You know, how is that?
Whew. Sometimes you turn it into a book.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sometimes you call your publisher and you're like, "You're gonna get this one late." I'm single for the first time in my adult life. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about taking breaks, and like now it's a lot more of a public discourse on when to do it. But you know, it's not fun to be feeling like shit and be like, cool, now I got to turn on a camera and like be happy, or people are going to investigate what's wrong with my personal life. I mean, that's the flip side of privacy is private investigators and people taking it upon themselves, like, you know, back in the day to be like, well, let's figure out everything about them that they're not telling us.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, hey guys, now you could say like, hey, I'm kind of going through it. I'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Yeah.
That was like unheard of 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
I think the incredible thing that happened for us, at least, is that like the audience that we accidentally cultivated is wildly respectful and knows that our sense of privacy a little bit, so can kind of understand or get feelers of what's going on and totally respect and give space to that. I think that it's tough and awkward and weird and strange and a whirlwind constantly. I think when we first started our podcast, this might get weird, I was going through a breakup basically. And so the first few episodes of the podcast are just wild times from Grace every week. And then like I slowly, after a few months, like I found myself in another relationship. And now it's just like my septic tank is getting emptied today. So
Yeah, previously that would have been a euphemism.
yeah.
Oh my God. Ew.
I think we should end it on that joke. Grace and I actually have to record our podcast right after this.
You guys, thank you so much for coming on Dating Straight. This truly has been so wonderful, and we appreciate it deeply.
Oh, thank you for
where
having us.
Where can our listeners find more of you guys?
Oh, man. Well, we have our joint podcast, This Might Get Weird, which is available anywhere where you find this podcast. And then also on an individual level, Instagram and Twitter, I'm Mametown.
And I'm just at Grace Helbig across the board. And you can watch our podcast every week at youtube.com/thismightget.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, thanks for listening. I'm Amy Oddman.
I'm Jack Dodge, and this is Dating Straight.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Be broken-hearted lovers. You can help.